Alright, so I'm ready to do this. The Friday the 13th Iceberg Explained. So, since I made the TMNT iceberg, I kind of wanted to experiment more with other icebergs, and I think I found a good one, the Friday the 13th iceberg. Now, for me, this franchise is special for many reasons, but that's not important. What's important is this iceberg I found on the Friday the 13th subreddit, and credit goes to user u/starthewolf. This iceberg is interesting because it seems pretty long and packed with a lot of interesting information from the series. So anyways, let's get started. Now, Tier 1. Jason's mother was the original killer. Now, if you weren't sure by now, Jason wasn't actually the killer in the first movie. It was his mother, Mrs. Voorhees, who committed all the murders. Her reasonings were because the counselors were negligent and left her Jason to drown.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason. I was working the day that it happened, preparing meals. Here, I was the cook. Jason should have been watched every minute. He wasn't a very good swimmer.
You know, my little Voorhees. I don't know why I did that. Next up is Kevin Bacon appears in the original film. So yeah, in the first film, popular actor Kevin Bacon was one of the teenage victims who actually has a really memorable kill. And since this was 1980, it was before Kevin went to star in Footloose, which made him blow up. Alright, Friday the 13th, the game. This entrance is just about the Friday the 13th video game, a horror survival that was released in 2017, which was just a huge love letter to the whole franchise. Roy Burns poses as Jason in Part 5 to avenge his son's death. Yeah, in the fifth movie, Jason again isn't the killer, mainly because at this point in the series, he's dead. Part 4 was the final chapter that killed off Jason, but obviously they want to make more money, so, more movies. Roy Burns was just the Jason replacement who takes revenge when his son gets killed, by killing more people than Jason usually did in this point in the films. Friday the 13th takes place in the same universe as Nightmare on Elm Street. This refers to the fact that the Friday universe takes place in the Nightmare universe, as Jason and Freddy both had a crossover in 2003. And there are a few Easter eggs between the series. Alice from Part 1. Now, I don't really know why this is on the list, but Alice is the final girl in the first movie, who then shows up in the second, only to just die within the first few minutes. Jason is revived in Part 6. In Part 6, Jason gets revived because Tommy goes to his grave, digs it up just to make sure he's really dead, I guess. I mean, he wasn't even alive in Part 5, so I don't know why he did that. But hey, at least we got, zombie Jason. Friday the 13th Part 2, 3, and 4 take place the day after each. In Parts 3 and 4, the movies actually take place day after each, making Parts 3 and 4 not even be in Friday the 13th. So, yeah. So, that just means it's... at the end of the films, There's no 1 year gap. There's just, oh yeah, Jason comes back the next day to do some killings. That's basically it. Jason doesn't have a hockey mask in part 4. In part 2, Jason still doesn't have a hockey mask because that was like the first time they introduced Jason as a killer, so they didn't have a definitive look for him. So like while everyone was in the studio was struggling on how to make him look, they just put a bag over his head.
Nobody on set thought the pillowcase mask was great, but they needed to cover up Jason's face, and no one could come up with anything better. The sack was suggested by costume designer Alan Lutter, who was inspired by the villain in The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Kane Hodder played Jason in parts 7, 8, 9, and 10. Kane Hodder is the fan favorite Jason actor, and he played him in the most times in the franchise because all other Jason actors just played him once and then left. But Hodder was the only one to stick around because he really likes playing the character, as he says when he says he was born to play Jason. And he was also the mocap actor for Jason in the video game. Tier 2. Jason's concept name was Josh, and he wasn't disfigured in the original script. So in the original script that Victor Miller wrote, Jason was actually meant to be just called Josh and just a normal kid. But like, can you imagine an alternate universe where he is called Josh Voorhees and everyone remembers him as that? I don't know, that just doesn't fit off the tongue, right? Tom Savini. Tom was the makeup effect artist that was involved in the first and fourth film. Tom was the one who actually created the first Jason look, and he's a special effect legend who has some of the best kills on screen, like in terms of makeup wise and stuff. He's like one of the best. He was also the effects artist on Dawn and Day of the Dead. Like, those are my two favorite zombie movies easily, and for a bunch of other movies. And with all those movies, like, you can tell that Tom made them, that Tom was involved with those, because everything, like, the effects just look really good. Jason's father is named Elias. Elias Voorhees is the husband of Pamela and father of Jason. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he was ever mentioned in the films, but he was in the comics and in the Pamela tapes in the game. And for part 6, he was originally gonna be in an ending where he told the grave tender to like take care of the graves of Pamela and Jason. Friday the 13th part 8 takes place in 2000. Okay, so this one's kind of complicated because if you know the series, then you probably were also like me and think, when did the films take place? Because the time in the first movie was shown clearly, but never in the later movies. This is confusing, like I said earlier, because there are many time skips in the movies as shown how Tommy grows up throughout parts 4 through 6. And apparently this part 8 takes place a year after the 7th film. And at this point, we're around the years of 2000 and 2003. Is Jason X canon? This entrance is just a reference to the fan base's confusion towards Jason X being canon, because in part 9, Jason dies and gets taken to hell, you know, with the whole Freddy Easter egg thing. And Jason X doesn't really explain how he got out of hell, because he's just in the future now. Like, it starts off with him in 2010, and then he just gets frozen to all the way towards, like, whatchamacallit, towards the future. The hockey mask is just an upscale replica of the Detroit Red Wings hockey mask. Looking at both hockey masks, Jason and Detroit's Red Wings, like, you can see a lot of similarities, and I think they did say that it was a replica of it. Nothing much to talk about. It's just a little reference. Crazy Ralph. Ralph was a character that appeared in the first film as a typical crazy one, warning the kids about a legend that eventually comes true.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you? Never come back again.
Oh, shut up.
Got a death curse.
He survives the first film, but like Alice, he dies early on in the second one. Those are the two only characters from the first films to come back, only to die. Dead fuck. Dead fuck is a line that Crispin Glover's character says in the fourth film that just becomes kind of memorable. Look, I'll show you some clips.
You're a dead fuck. What? A dead fuck? A lousy lay.
The iconic sounds of the soundtrack actually says ki 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 ma 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 and not chi 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 ha ha ha, which is a common thing that people mistake like during talks about the franchise. It's actually supposed to say like something like along the lines of kill 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 mom mom mom, because that's what Pamela thinks about because that's what's in Pamela's head for Jason. Like that's what he says to her in her head. Friday the 13th lawsuit. The lawsuit is one that is pretty much every player of the Friday the 13th game knows about, because it's the reason they stopped making content for the game and canceled out. The main reason for the lawsuit is kind of messy, but the main things you need to know is that the original writer, Victor Miller, sued the original director, Sean Cunningham, for not getting money from the characters he created. And it gets kind of messy. Like, I'll link some videos explaining the whole case, because I can't right now. It's just too long to, like, explain it all. But, like, that's just the main things you need to know. Original writer wanted more money for characters he created. So, yeah. And as of writing the script, apparently it ended, like, with Victor Miller winning the case. Alright. That's it for this part of the iceberg. Like I said earlier, this iceberg is really long, especially compared to the TMNT one I did. So I just, like I said, I just wanted to split up the videos. Also, I left out a few entries just because I didn't really feel the need to explain them, such as, like, Jason's mother's name. It's not much, just something really small. And yeah, that's about it for the video. We're here in the outro, and I just wanted to say this video was originally gonna come out like a lot sooner than I thought, but things just like came up and shit, so I just decided to put it in the back burner. Like, when I'm creating videos, a lot of the times it's just an issue after issue just keeps on coming up, and then I get mad and just like I get frustrated, so I just like stop working on it and then just leave it there. So like, yeah, I don't know, that's about it. But stay tuned. I'll try to get I'll try to finish the whole iceberg. All right, peace out, people.